How would you like to hack into Spotify's algorithm to get more exposure for your music, get more streams and more fans? Well, in this video, I'm gonna explain how you can do it without doing anything that could get you in trouble with Spotify. So you don't have to worry about having your music removed or getting banned or anything like that. So pay close attention to this video and you'll be able to use Spotify's algorithm to your advantage to get more exposure for your music and get more fans. Let's get started. What's up guys, Justin here, and in this video I'm going to help you use Spotify's algorithm to get more exposure for your music, get more streams, and get more fans. Now, a quick word of warning, it is against Spotify's terms of service to manipulate the service by any means, specifically artificially increasing play counts or follow counts, or using bots. And if you violate these terms of service, you could have your music removed from Spotify, as was recently the case with tens of thousands of tracks. Now, the fact of the matter is that Spotify's terms of service explicitly state that you are not allowed to manipulate the service by any means. And technically, that means that you're not allowed to do anything to influence Spotify's algorithm. However, there are some things that you can do that are not only completely okay, but are actually encouraged by Spotify that'll help you get picked up by Spotify's algorithm. And that's what this video is. So please do not use any bots. Don't pay for fake followers. Don't pay for fake streams. Don't do any of that obviously sketchy stuff to try to game the algorithm or manipulate the system. There are way better ways to get your music noticed by Spotify's algorithm that are completely above board and honestly way more effective anyway. But why should you even care about Spotify's algorithm in the first place? Well, nowadays playlists are a big part of the way that people listen to music and discover new music, and Spotify is the industry leader. It's the largest exclusively audio streaming platform. Now, technically YouTube is bigger, but YouTube is also video. It's not just music on YouTube. So as far as music streaming platforms go, Spotify is the biggest, and it's also the easiest for independent artists to take advantage of as a promotional vehicle to get new listeners. Now, there are three basic types of playlists on Spotify. You have listener curated playlists, so anyone with a Spotify account can create their own playlist, and then any other Spotify users can follow them. Then you have official Spotify playlists that are curated by Spotify's staff, and then you have algorithmic playlists. Now these are playlists like Discover Weekly, Release Radar, and Daily Mixes, which are all unique to each individual user. So Discover Weekly, for example, is a playlist that's generated by an algorithm to expose listeners to music that fits their musical taste that they've also never heard before. So it's completely different for everyone. Like, my musical taste might be a little bit different from yours, and the music that I've heard and that I'm familiar with is probably likely at least a little bit different from what you've heard. So my Discover Weekly playlist is probably gonna be completely different than yours. Then there's Release Radar, which is all of the new music from your favorite artist. And then you have Daily Mixes, which are influenced by the music that you listen to most. And it tends to feature a lot of artists that you already like. So these playlists are all generated by a computer algorithm that's designed to share music with listeners that are likely to enjoy it. And that's what's really cool about these algorithmic playlists for you as an artist. When Spotify's algorithm adds your music to a listener's Discover Weekly or Release Radar or Daily Mix, it's because the algorithm has determined that your music is a good fit for that listener based on their musical taste, which means that that person is likely to become a fan of your music. So how can you get your music picked up by Spotify's algorithm and added to these playlists? Well, I'm gonna give you 9 best practices to help you get added to more algorithmic playlists. Now, please bear in mind that nobody knows the exact way that these algorithms work. It's completely top secret. Spotify has to keep it a secret, otherwise it'd be too easy to manipulate the algorithm. And if anybody can just put whatever music they want on everyone's Discover Weekly, that would lead to a bad user experience, and everyone would cancel their Spotify subscriptions and Spotify would go out of business. So everything I'm about to share with you, these are best practice. These are things that, based on my experience, the experience of others, and things that Spotify executives have said, we know that these things will give your music a better chance of being picked up by Spotify's algorithm. Now, don't worry too much about which is the most important, this or that, which is going to help you the most, because we really don't know exactly how much each of these factors is weighted. Nobody outside of Spotify really knows exactly how the algorithm decides whether your music should be added to a playlist over another artist. But these are things that you should try to do to the best of your ability. And if you do them, you will improve your chances of reaching more listeners through Spotify's algorithm. So number 1, spike engagement. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's say that you have a budget set aside for promoting your music and you're spending X amount of dollars per week or X amount of dollars per month to run Facebook ads, playlist submissions, or whatever. Well, you can do that steadily, spend a certain amount like every week to have a steady flow of new listeners, new streams consistently coming in over time. And that's great. And that can really still help you, of course, get picked up by Spotify's algorithms. But it is much better to focus your promotion efforts and budget on spiking engagement all at once. Focus on getting those streams, followers, saves, playlist additions all happening at once. Because when you create that spike in engagement, that will help you get noticed by Spotify's algorithm. The algorithm will see, hey, what's this? A lot of people are listening to this song right now. People are discovering this and they seem to like it. Let's go find more people to share it with. And it makes sense to focus on one track rather than multiple tracks because Spotify is very single oriented. In other words, the algorithm isn't necessarily looking for the artist that's really popular right now. It's looking for tracks that are really popular. It's not going to say, hey, this artist is really popular. Let's put all of their music on a bunch of people's Discover Weeklies. It's going to say, hey, this track is really popular. Let's put it on a bunch of listeners' Discover Weeklies. So focus on spiking engagement on one track at a time to increase your chances of getting that track picked up by Spotify's algorithm. Now you may be asking, well, which track should I promote and when should I promote it? Well, that's tip number 2, promote tracks as soon as they're released. Spotify loves fresh content. If a track is getting a lot of engagement at the time of the release, that looks really good to Spotify. It's going to increase your chances of getting noticed by the algorithm, and it can help you end up on more listeners' release radars. And that's one of the reasons that you may have heard that you should be releasing singles now instead of albums, which is tip number 3, release singles. Now, this isn't necessarily the best overall strategy for releasing music. It's simply the best approach for getting your music picked up and shared by Spotify's algorithm. But Spotify is only one aspect of your music promotion. And quite frankly, it's not really the best way to make money. Streaming royalties simply just don't pay that much. Now, if you have an existing fan base that's looking forward to your upcoming album, it oftentimes makes more sense to plan a big album release with a tour and merch and deluxe limited edition box sets and all those other things that can actually be very lucrative, much more so than the small royalty checks that you might get from streaming. But if you don't have an existing fan base, you don't have those fans that are looking forward to your upcoming release, you probably don't have anyone that's going to buy your merch or limited edition albums with exclusive bonus tracks. So you're not going to really be able to reap the benefits of an album release in the same way that a more established banner artist would. And if that's the case for you, it probably makes more sense to release singles instead of a full album because continuously feeding Spotify fresh new music can help your music get shared and reach more people on Spotify. So you can end up building up that fan base so that in time, one day you will have a large enough audience to warrant planning a full album release. So that's something that's going to vary from one artist to another. It really just depends on your situation, your goals, and your business strategy for your music. Now I get into all of that in a lot more detail in another video here on this channel, which I'll link to in the video description below. But suffice to say that frequently releasing singles will help increase your chances of getting picked up by Spotify's algorithm. And as I said before, you want to promote each of those singles at the time that they're released. And in fact, tip number 4, you don't want to wait until your track is officially live to start promoting it. You can run pre-save campaigns prior to the release. When listeners pre-save your upcoming track, it's automatically saved to their Spotify library the day it's officially released. And that type of engagement on the release date contributes to that spike that you're trying to create to get noticed by Spotify's algorithm. And you also want to make sure that you're getting well-rounded engagement. That means streams, followers, saves. Different types of engagement are going to help influence Spotify's algorithm in different ways. And having well-rounded engagement like streams, saves, follows, that all looks really natural. When you have all of that stuff, it looks natural to Spotify. Now, if you were just to get a bunch of streams all of a sudden, but nobody's saving your music or adding it to their personal playlists, that looks a little bit weird. But if you're getting a variety of types of engagement, streams, saves, followers, personal playlist additions, that sends some really strong signals to Spotify that your new track is a hit and it's going to increase your chances of reaching more listeners. So how do you do that? Well, to get well-rounded engagement, you need well-rounded promotion. So one thing that you should do is get your existing fans, like I said before, to pre-save your release. You can do that by creating a pre-save landing page. You can create a pre-save landing page using a service like Hyped, or if you have DistroKid as your distributor, they'll automatically create a hyperfollow page for you that acts as a pre-save page prior to your release. Now, once you have your pre-saved landing page live, you should share that with your existing fans on social media and email. Your existing fan base is likely to pre-save your track because they already know you, they like your music, and it doesn't cost them anything. It doesn't cost you anything to share that link on your social media or send that out to your email list. So that's a good way to get those saves and create that engagement without having to allocate any of your promotional budget towards that specific goal. Now, if you're running paid promotions for your new release, like Facebook or Instagram ads, make the priority for those to get more followers. A follower is arguably the most valuable type of engagement that you can get, at least when it comes to Spotify, right? So if you're spending money to promote a new release and get engagement on Spotify, it makes sense to prioritize getting a follower. That will give you the best return on your investment. And the reason I say that is because Release Radar, one of the most popular algorithmic playlists on Spotify, prioritizes followers. Release Radar updates every week with new releases from a listener's favorite artists. Artists that the listener actually follows are prioritized, meaning that releases from those artists will pretty much always be featured on that listener's Release Radar. Then Release Radar will include tracks from artists that they frequently listen to, but maybe they don't follow, and occasionally new releases from artists that maybe they've never heard of before. But new releases from artists that they follow will almost always be on their Release Radar. So when someone follows you, your new release will show up on their Release Radar. And the reason why that's so valuable is that it's not just your next release that's going to appear on their Release Radar, it's all of your future releases. All of your new releases will appear on that listener's Release Radar for as long as they follow you. So if you're going to invest some money in promotion, focusing on getting those followers is really going to help you have the best return on your advertisement investment long term. Now, when it comes to getting more listeners streaming your music, the most cost-effective way to do that would be playlist promotion. So that's number 8. Submit your music to playlist curators. Getting your music added to popular playlists plugs you into an existing listener base that can result in a lot of new listeners streaming your music. However, because of the nature of the way that people listen to playlists, this doesn't necessarily result in all those other types of engagement that we talked about. Most people listen to playlists passively. It's oftentimes just background music. They may not really be paying that much attention. So you can end up getting a lot of streams, but usually not a ton of other engagement. Now, you will get some saves usually. If someone really likes your track, they might tap that little heart icon. That's not unusual. If they really like it, they might add that track to one of their own personal playlists. And if they really, really like it, they might actually follow you, but that rarely happens with playlists. It does happen sometimes, but the fact of the matter is that most people are passively listening to the music on a playlist in the first place, so they're a lot less likely to engage than if you were to promote your track directly to them on social media or email or using ads. And a lot of people don't even know that following an artist is an option. They might see that little heart icon and tap it, but it's a lot less likely that that person is actually going to go to your profile and follow you after hearing your track on a playlist. It happens, but getting on playlist isn't really the best way to get that type of engagement. It is, however, very good for getting more streams. So that's why you want to use a combination of promotional methods to get more streams, more saves, more followers, and more playlist additions. Now, another way that playlists can affect the algorithm is the other artists on that same playlist as you. Because when someone's listening to your music on a playlist, they're also listening to all the other artists on that playlist. So essentially, Spotify is seeing that the people who listen to your music are also listening to all these other tracks, which influences who else Spotify is going to share your music with, who listens to those similar artists. So that's something to just be mindful of when you're submitting your music to playlist curators. Now, I have a few other videos here on the channel on the topic of getting featured on playlists, so I'll link to those in the video description below, along with the video I mentioned earlier. And finally, best practice number 9, submit your music to official Spotify playlists. This is simple and free to do, and you could end up getting featured on really popular official Spotify playlists like Rap Caviar, Rock This, Hot Country, or any number of other official playlists. It's super easy to submit your music to those official playlists from within your Spotify for Artists dashboard. If you don't have a Spotify for Artists dashboard yet, you just need to go to artist.spotify.com and claim your artist profile. Once you have your Spotify for Artists dashboard set up and your upcoming release has been added, you can click Music at the top and select Upcoming to view your upcoming releases. Then you can submit it to be featured on an official Spotify playlist from there. So there you go, 9 best practices to help you get your music picked up and shared by Spotify's algorithm. Number 1, spike engagement. The more engagement you have happening all at once, the more likely the algorithm is to notice your track. Number 2, promote your tracks as soon as they're released. Spotify loves fresh new music, so capitalize on that as soon as your tracks are released. Number 3, release singles. Now this is one that really depends on your situation. In some cases, it might make more sense to release a full album, but as far as the Spotify algorithm goes, releasing new music frequently is better, so it helps to break up your album into a series of singles rather than releasing it all at once. Number 4, promote pre-release. Pre-saves contribute to the engagement of your new track on the release date, and that can help you with the algorithm. Number 5, well-rounded engagement. Focus on getting streams, saves, followers, and playlist additions. Number 6, create a pre-save landing page. Promote your pre-save page to existing fans on social media and via email to increase engagement for your new release without having to spend a bunch of money on promotion. And number 7, focus on getting followers with your paid promotions. When it comes to Spotify engagement, followers will typically get you the best ROI, so make that the primary goal of those paid promotions. Number 8, submit to playlists. This is the most cost-effective way to get more streams. And number 9, submit your music to Spotify's editorial staff to possibly be featured on official Spotify playlists. Now this of course helps in the same way as getting added to any other playlist, but it's free to do and it's easy to do, and some of these playlists are pretty big. So there you go. Be sure to implement these best practices into your music promotion to get more exposure, get more streams, and more fans by leveraging Spotify's algorithmic playlists. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, please be sure to give it a thumbs up below and let me know in the comment section. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe now for more videos like this one. And tick that little bell icon to be notified as soon as they're released. And if you'd like to be notified about new videos, blog posts, special promotions, other tips, tricks, resources to help you promote your music, head over to JamMob.com and sign up to our mailing list. And of course, feel free to share this video with anyone that you know that might enjoy it and find it helpful. Now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.